You remember that Paul is in prison, and the earthquake comes. And in the midst of the earthquake, with the doors of the prison bursting open, the jailer is smitten with terror because he is held personally responsible for the prisoners, and should one escape, he would be put to death. So in terror, he comes to the door, sees that they're open, assumes the prisoners have run, and is about to kill himself. It's nicer than being killed by somebody else. And Paul cried out with a loud voice, 16:28, "Do not harm yourself, for we're all here." What a relief to him. And he called for lights, and he rushed in, and trembling with fear, he fell down before Paul and Silas, and brought them out, and said, "Men, what must I do to be saved?" And they said, "Well, if you have the time, we have 20 lessons here in our briefcase, and if you'll be willing to go through, after the 20th, we'll talk about baptism, and then you can be saved." And Paul, in an earthquake, had only a few moments. And so we had to distill the whole thing into one sentence. And he said, "Place your faith in Jesus Christ, and you will be saved." Now, in the King James, it says, "Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ." Well, don't underestimate that. In the Greek, there's only one word for belief or faith or trust or confidence. It's always the same. And so to go to all the effort we sometimes do to show the difference between belief and faith is interesting in English, but it doesn't work in the Greek. There is only one word. So what Paul said was trust in the Lord. Have confidence in the Lord. Place your faith in the Lord. Or believe. They're all exactly the same. And you will be saved, you and your household. Is that enough? If you only have a minute, is that enough? Of course, it depends what we take faith to mean. This is no idle opinion. Faith means a whole attitude toward the one in whom you place your trust, implying a willingness to listen, love, and admiration, and so on. And they spoke the word of the Lord to him and all that were in his house later on, you see. And that's what followed, to be sure. And he took them the same hour of the night and washed their wounds, and he was baptized at once with all his family. Then he brought them up into his house and set food before them, and he rejoiced with all his household that he had believed in God. So when there was a little more time, they did engage in Bible study. You see, they did, to follow. But when you've only got a minute to summarize the essence of the whole thing, is it right to say all God asks of us is trust? Because if we trust God, he's well able to save and heal anybody who trusts him. That's it. And I may not know all the rest of theology, like the thief on the cross. What did he know? And I may not even know what God does to me. And I may not know any Latin words like justification and sanctification and propitiation and expiation and all the rest of it. But if I trust him, I'll be willing to let him do to me what needs to be done. There is no substitute for trust. That's the essence of it all. Of course, God does not ask us to trust him as a stranger. And we'd be fools to trust someone who is not worthy of our trust. So God at infinite length has revealed that he is trustworthy. He hasn't just claimed to be trustworthy. He's shown that he can be trusted in all these records. And then we go out and present the picture of God and say, do you like what you hear? What do you think of all the evidence in support of this? Do you like him enough to trust him? That's all God asks of you. He is our creator, and he knows how we've been hurt and damaged, but he is readily able to heal all who trust him. But as a physician, can you heal a patient who doesn't trust you? Thinks you're a quack, is afraid, won't come to the office because he's afraid you're going to hurt him. He's going to hurt you, rather. Would you go to a doctor who says, if you don't come next week, I'll find you in your home and I'll kill you? Now you get to my office, right? Wouldn't you move to another city, to another town? You know, you'd go. The false picture of God is what has destroyed trust. That's one of the things that's destroyed trust. There is another thing that's destroyed trust. That's the incredible ability to see the truth clearly and still turn against God. That's perversity. And the devil knew God well and turned against him. The Jews, Caiaphas, had a moment of conviction. Do you remember? He said, this is the one. But then he tore his robes and tried to quench it. That's the worst kind of thing. But it always goes back to the same thing. Do we find God worthy of our trust? Not because of claims, but because of evidence. Then how do we win people? But by talking about God to them. But don't just make claims. Say, here's the evidence. Look at the way he treats sinners, Simon and Judas and all the rest. That's the kind of God he is. He's not only powerful, but he can be trusted to use his power in such a way. And some of us are one to trust. And God says, that's good. Now, see, that's Abraham. Abraham trusted God, and God said, that's good.